Tonight, I am here with a special guest, a special friend, actually a friend of the communities. I'm here with Harmonica Sunbeam, the legendary Harmonica Sunbeam. Okay.
Ah.
Yes.
Wait, let me see what happens if I turn on my little ring light, honey. Hold on.
Yes. Oh, she ready.
Oh, okay.
Yes, exactly. Let me tell you, we are in that age where it's all about the ring light.
Hello, honey. Put a ring on it.
Exactly.
Put a ring light on it, honey.
Oh yes, honey. Woo! If he's that size, then it's a good night. So no, everyone, thank you for joining. We're gonna give some people a little bit of a chance to
Let
join
them know
in.
that we early.
Yes, we are early. Yes,
POC,
yes.
POC can be early, okay?
That's right. That's right. POC. Love it. It is true. It is true. We are punctual. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. Okay.
Right, now we waiting for y'all.
Exactly. Yes. So like I said, everyone, I am here with the fabulous Harmonica Sunbeam, someone that I've gotten to know throughout the years. Believe it or not, I got to know Harmonica through nightlife. You know, as a bartender, we used to just hang out while we were waiting for the club to open. You know, backstage, dressing room, kikiing. You know, he would joke about me being the bottom behind the bar.
Well.
and you won my heart. You won my heart with all those jokes. I love it. You know, it's crazy because I think sometimes, especially, you would never know what's gonna come out of nightlife. But you know, a friendship did develop. And we're both Jersey queens, so I'm so happy to call you a friend. You know, and I'm so happy that you agreed to do this, the Community Spotlight Project.
Yes.
And so for people who don't know what the Community Spotlight Project is, it's literally something that came out of COVID-19. You know, I wanted to spread love and light and positivity. And I said, you know what, and no time in history more than now do we need, you know, to just spread, you know, positive messages, inspiration, and just to check in with each other and see how everybody's doing. You know what I mean? And then the Community Spotlight was also a chance for me to put a spotlight on people in the community that were doing amazing and great things. And I do have to say that it's something that initially was only going to be during Pride Month, but you know, it has developed into something. And I didn't think, I mean, I had no expectations, you know, and sometimes when you have no expectations, that's when the best things happen, because
definitely, because the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know, it's just like, you know, it's like, okay, I'm just going to do this. And then you just kind of like go with it.
Exactly.
Know, see where it takes you. Now, can I ask you, do you know how many people you've interviewed so far?
Yes, I want to say roughly, just off the top of my head, I want to say about 9 to 10-ish.
That's what most guys say, 9 to 10. and then we find out it's really 6 to 7. But
exactly. Exactly. You know, they be lying on their Grindr profiles. OMG. Oh, this is gonna be a good night. So Harmonica, I wanted to actually give you the opportunity, because it is 7:59. Okay. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to basically just share a little bit about yourself and who are you?
All right. Do we have people yet?
So yes, let me see right here. Yes, we got Keontae in the house. We got Ivan Chacon in the house. Okay.
Is that Edie Chacon's son?
Yes, that's Edie Chacon's son.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, so listen. So my name is Harmonica Sunbeam, and I am a entertainer and community activist. I've been involved with the community for entertaining for about 30 years now. Yes, and I started when I was 14, and
really 14?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, we have to put a disclaimer that says, "Don't believe anything she says."
Yes. Okay.
No, so I've been performing for quite some time. And then, of course, performing and hosting leads to other opportunities and things like that, And I've worked in the HIV and AIDS, with HIV and AIDS organizations as well, and also with, community organizations, hosting events for them as well, too. So it's been really a really wonderful journey, especially for someone who never planned on doing drag.
There you go. Sometimes, like when you really have no expectations for something, you never know what it's going to turn into.
Where do we hear this before?
Yeah. She's on repeat. So wait a minute. So in total, how many years now have you been doing drag?
About 30, yeah.
About 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, that deserves a round of applause. Because I know it's not easy, and you definitely did it at a time when it was not cool to do it.
Well, and you know what? I like to think that that I worked my way up and through the ranks slow and steady. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We didn't have the advantage of social media on our side and stuff like that. So in order for us to be known, you had to actually be there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Nowadays, queens can sit at home and have 1,000,001 followers and have never left the home. But the drawback to that is they don't have a stage presence. They don't have a presence in front of other people because the only presence they've had is in front of a camera. And there's a big difference with having stage presence and being able to be as fabulous as you want on camera. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes.
Exactly. So, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, I'm 35, but I do know a time before social media, and I do know a time when you had to go to the club to meet your papi chulo, where you had to go to see entertainment, where you had to go to, to just get out, to meet people. Mm-hmm. That was being social. That was the social media, being out.
Right, yes, Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, I totally agree. And yeah. So the queens today, they definitely have to pay homage, to the queens like you, who have paved the way, because honestly, if it wasn't for those who came before us, I definitely think that a lot of what we see today would not be possible. So I want to thank you on behalf of everyone. I'm sure people agree with me. Yes, definitely. So, wow. So 30 years. And so I think I know this story, but I don't know if other people know. So what was one of your first gigs ever?
Oh, okay. The first show I ever did, or the first time I ever did drag, because there is a difference.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference.
Okay, so break it down. Do each.
Okay, so the first time I ever did drag was for a ball. And when I was first coming out and discovering my sexuality, I got involved with the house, the houses, and so the documentary Paris is Burning, correct?
Yes.
Well, in that documentary, that was an actual function that happened every year. Paris would have a ball called Paris is Burning. And this particular year, she had it in at Trax, which was on either 19th Street or 17th Street, close to the West Side Highway, like 19th and 11th. And it was a fabulous, really big club with I think they had like an outdoor section, like a patio section, and they had a really, really popular Tuesday nights. Well, anyway, so she had a ball there, and one of the categories is called Butch Queen First Time in Drag at a Ball. Mm-hmm. And so I was in the House of Adonis. I was a member of the House of Adonis, and I told my house members at the meeting that I would like to walk that ball. And so I didn't know what I was going to look like. I didn't know anything, and they put me together from head to toe. All I had to do is go out there and sell it, and I did.
Yeah.
And to this day, bitches are still jealous.
Exactly. Hello.
I wonder, right, if I had not won, whether I would have done it again or been bothered with it. And so then it wasn't until maybe like a year or two later that I actually performed at First Choice in Newark.
Yes, I think that's the one I remember that you've told me. Yeah.
That was the first place I ever performed at, ever. And that was a really fun time. We used to bring our albums and our cassettes and our 45s to the club, honey. Side A, you know.
The 8-track.
Yeah, you know. So it was a good time. I'm sorry, I am making
No worries. So let me just see who's joining. So we do have a few people in the house. We got, like I said, Keontae, JD Sant, Durrell Knights, Jose Ramon. Hey, Jose. We got Fabio. Yes, Fabio is in the house. Fabio actually said, now Grindr has a delivery option.
Well, if it's not better than Uber Eats, I don't want to hear about it.
Exactly. Yes, Hunty. Oh my gosh. Even one of my my aunties from Florida is watching. Titi Lisa.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So we got the whole family up in here. All right.
Awesome.
Yes. So definitely thank you for sharing. You know, because there's sometimes, you know, you always, I'm sure you're the type that, you know, you're looking ahead and, you know, you have so many more dreams and goals, but sometimes to look back of where you came from and just what you said, as far as like, wow, I wonder if I would not have won, I wonder if I would have continued on that path.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's real.
And the thing, the great thing about drag is that it is not a ageist situation. You know what I'm saying? You can be an older drag queen and still be gainfully employed if your act is relevant to a crowd. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know? So I believe there's a crowd for everyone, but in order to continue to still get booked, you have to have something to offer. And they don't care that I'm 69. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They know that I'm professional, that I will do a good job, and with enough makeup, I'll look 30. So
there you go.
Care about.
Exactly. No. I think that's a beautiful message because age ain't nothing but a number. But you know what? And I can literally say this, you know, because I mean I used to see you back in the Escalita days, and I didn't, you know exactly who you were, but I knew your name, right? And I was like, wow. And I remember you were so funny. And now to know you now the way I know you, I'm just like, wow, you've adapted to each like generation and you've kept up. You know, and that's a beautiful testament to who you are and the fact that, you know, you haven't let that defeat you, because some people can be like, I'm too old for this, and they give up, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because I mean, I have my own battles. I mean, I fought technology, you know what I mean? It was just like, oh, I'm not putting no music on no CD, you know what I mean? Now it's like, oh no, I'm not putting no music on no flash drive, you know what I'm saying? You know, so it's like, so, you know, eventually, you know, you either get with the program or you get lost in the sauce. And so I've had to adapt and grow with the times and accept the different changes that have come in the business itself. So I agree.
Yes. So that's a very good lesson for the night, you know, that adaptability and making sure that you keep conscious that you can reinvent yourself, you know, at different stages.
Well, let's make it even more easier for people to understand. Look how everything shut down in March. And if you were not able to think outside the box, then you were sitting, waiting for things to get back to normal. And we are still sitting, waiting to get back. We'll take New Jersey, for instance, you know? So we were shut down from March until quite some time, maybe about June-ish, when things started to open up just a little bit, you know? And then we moved up to 25%. Now, effective Thursday, the governor is saying everything closes at 10 o'clock again. Do you understand?
Exactly.
So it's like, so you can't always rely on what you are used to, because right now we're fighting so many different things that we don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
You know, they could say, okay, it's 50%, or they could say, oh, it's completely closed. Who knows which way it will go in? And this is why we can't really necessarily carry, especially as entertainers, carry all of our eggs in one basket.
There you go.
You know? because it's such an ever-changing situation. Right now, New York is not affected, but who's to say in a week or two, things are shut down in New York?
Yep, yep. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. So I love. I'm a true believer in not putting your eggs all in one basket. Which is why back in the day I had 1,000,001 bartending jobs, because I was like, if one gig shuts down, you always have another gig.
A lot of times, a lot of these owners of establishments, they really don't want you at other places. And what they fail to realize is that, and these gigs come and go,
Mm-hmm.
and these nights come and go, and at any moment you could be replaced without even knowing that you were replaced. You just show
Yep.
up to work and find out, oh yeah, this is a new person, or this is the next week this show starts. And so I've always learned not to have multiple streams of income, in a sense, from different places, and don't tie myself down to one place, because in reality all these bar establishment owners and club owners, they all this is not their only investment. They
Yep.
may have a laundromat, a parking lot, a sushi bowl, who knows, but they have money coming in from other places. So for us to sit and have to be your particular employee and not being able to work anywhere else, it's unfair to us.
Exactly. I totally agree. And it's something that, sometimes, especially, people of color, we can easily, they think that they can take advantage of us because, we think, oh, I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket because that's all I got. That's the only opportunity, right? But then not knowing what you just said, they've got 1,000,001 investments, you know what I mean? So we got to be smart too, you know what I mean? And diversify.
Back in the day of Escalita, Ben, bless his heart and rest his soul, he wanted me to only perform there. And he says, if you only perform here, people will have to see you here. That's not true, because if they don't like it here, they won't come here, even if it's me. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like, it's like, it doesn't, just because you are only at one place, I'm putting myself as an entertainer at a disadvantage by only appearing in one particular place. Exactly. I'm not on contract. You're not paying me extra just to stay on, to only be here.
Yep.
You're paying me just like everybody else is getting paid. So I have to make sure that I have all my bases covered.
There you go. Amen to that. Okay. Well, very good, very good. And so you kind of touched on, this pandemic and how everything just shut down, and, people maybe were sitting at home waiting around for something to happen. And it's like, no, like, you have to think, like, what's your next move? So what have you been doing to stay busy during the pandemic?
I will tell you this, I have been one of the fortunate ones during the whole pandemic, because when everything shut down in March, I had about 8 to 10 days off. And then, all of my stuff started going virtual. I started working with Art House Productions, doing bingo with them on Friday nights. And then my drag queen story hour events all went virtual. So, there was no shortage of work for me, for quite some time. And I'm still very busy, and it's funny because, it's like, working online, I never thought I would have the discipline to work from home. And as a drag queen, whoever thought I'd be working from home? And so it's like, and it has its advantages and its disadvantages and stuff, So now it's like, when somebody calls me up to do something that's outside and in person, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to put on a girdle. Oh, wait, you mean I gotta put on shoes? Oh,
no.
I
gotta tuck.
Listen, as long as I look good from the nipples up for my online gig, I'm fine.
There you go. Amen.
Okay. Yeah. So I learned that, like, okay, well, maybe thinking like, oh, there's too many distractions for me to work from home. And it's just like, well, you know what? If one of those distractions is PSE&G and the rent and everything else, then you better get up and you better work from home.
That's
and
right.
So and this pandemic has allowed me to meet a lot of other, to build bridges and networks with a lot of other organizations and groups that I would have never met had this pandemic not happened, because everybody had to turn to virtual stuff for entertainment and for learning and things. So a lot of schools, charter schools and stuff, they hit me up to do story hour. A lot of organizations hit me up to do like happy hour bingo for the employees and things like that. And I'm still doing those type of events. And it's really, really great, because I will tell you this, you know, and I'm not anti-club and stuff like that, but when everything happened and the shutdown, what did the clubs do? The clubs had GoFundMe's for who? The bartenders. So the performers, the go-go boys and girls and the drag queens, they all had to fend for themselves.
Yep, that's so true.
And what did we do with our resilient selves? We went online, and some people did shows, you know, for tips and stuff. We had to do what we had to do, you know. And now some of those places are open again, and a few of them are saying, hey, can you work with us because of X, Y, and Z? And it's just like, ooh, okay. You know, it's like everything else has gone up. You know, these places have these COVID convenience charges and everything else, but then they still want to put the performers on, you know, on this reduced rate until things get better. Well, there's nothing here that's reduced.
Exactly.
There's no dollar menu here, honey. Okay?
Hello.
And I mean, I don't mind working with you and things like that, you know, but I haven't had that same problem working online. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, so if I have to choose between working online and making the money that I would like to make, as opposed to actually leaving the house for a lesser amount.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, and not for nothing, but, you know, at this point in the game, you know, you have paid your dues, and you've been around, right? And you've seen.
They try it. They really, really do. You know?
Yes. And so, yes, you gotta dejarte respetar, the way they say in Spanish. You gotta, you know, have people respect you. You know what I mean?
And you have to know your worth.
Yes.
You know
your worth. Exactly.
I shouldn't have to say, oh, it's X amount of dollars. Oh, and by the way, it's X amount of dollars because of X, Y, and Z. No, honey, because when you go to Gucci and they say the pocketbook is 500, they don't say, oh, it's 500 because it's genuine leather, it's this and this and this. It's 500.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And that's how I had to learn to be in regards to my negotiations. Yeah, this is how much it will cost you. And I'm not explaining myself, because you came to me.
Amen to that.
You came to me.
All right.
You know, and people will say, well, there are other girls who will do it for a lot cheaper. Then why don't you call them? Would you like their numbers? What do you want? You know, why are you wasting my time? You know, I know what I'm worth. And at this point, and you know, as a person who may be in the beginning of being a performer, you know, you're hungry, so you want the opportunities and stuff. And so you may be taken advantage of every here and now, you know. But then once you realize your worth, you stand up for what you feel is right and work for what you want to happen. You know, I never ever worry about a lack of work. You know, because that's the mindset you need. You know what I'm saying? You know, so it's going to be there because I have put myself out there, and I have a reputation of doing what I'm booked to do, and my reputation precedes itself. So it's just like there's always going to be work. You know, there's always going to be work, and that's how I see it. You know.
Exactly. Amen to that. So y'all, everyone watching, don't let nobody tell you no. Don't let nobody tell you, well, I'm going to get the next one, because you got to know your worth. Okay.
Right. You know, you go ahead and get the next one, and I'll watch the live and laugh along.
Exactly. No, it's so true. So you kind of touched.
I've been doing a lot of touching tonight.
Exactly. So you kind of touched, you know, on what you do professionally, right? Now, I wanted to ask you if who you are personally and who you are professionally live together, or they live separately.
A little bit of both in a
Mm-hmm.
sense because, as when I'm not in drag, I tend to be a little shy and reserved. I'm like a people watcher. Like I'll go, and a lot of times, like if I go to a bar or club, I'll go somewhere, I'm not there for attention. You know what I mean? I'm just going there to enjoy myself and be out or support somebody's event and with stuff like that. So a lot of times people are like, oh, Harmonica Sunbeam's in the building. And that's fine if you say that, but I don't need like a big, drawn out introduction or I didn't come for the attention of that. I just
Yeah.
came to show my support and stuff. So I tend to be like very reserved
Mm-hmm.
and kind of to myself, and like like when I'm not doing shows, I'm still doing normal guy stuff that everybody else do. I'm going to get my hair cut and trying to keep the body tight and right at my age and all that kind of stuff. So still looking for the perfect partner or companion, somebody to be Mr. Beam.
Yes. No, true. I'm
It's
sure. Yes.
hard. It's hard as a drag queen dating, only because you will meet. I used to think that if I met guys dressed like this, that it would be one less thing that I have to tell them and they would understand. But people fall in love with what they see. So if they see this, they expect me to be this way all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if they meet me and I'm not dressed, then they're shocked to find out that I do get dressed. So I need someone to understand and appreciate the work that I do, just like anybody else's work and profession that they do, and appreciate that and respect that, but know that that is a part of my life, but it is not my whole life.
Exactly. Well, beautifully said. And I just want to put that out into the universe, that you definitely deserve all the love, someone to come into your life and swoop you off your feet, but not only swoop Harmonica off her feet, but to swoop Bryant off his feet.
Right. Yes.
Right?
And just respect the difference, and appreciate, like, you don't have to come to every show of mine, and you can be my biggest fan, but you don't always have to be up under me at work. I'm so used to being at work and working independently that I don't know, it would be a lot for me to have someone that's up under me while I'm at work. Stay home. Just like I don't do your job and make coffee for you at the office. You don't have to come to mine and do anything. So.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And sometimes, hey, relationships work the best like that, when they can let you be you and you go do you, and then you come back home. Hey, and it could be like you said, like you're a totally different person who you are in drag than out of drag. And that's okay. That's okay. Because, right, sometimes there can be so much pressure to be like that persona at all times, right?
Right, and it's like people say when they meet me as a guy, it takes a while. Like I've been to your house for events and stuff like that, and you see me, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not, and until I get to know people or feel a little bit comfortable, then I start to open up a little bit more. But for the most part, I'm just there, and people say, "How come you're not like that all the time?" I said, "Well, if I was like that all the time, you wouldn't pay to come see me."
There you go. That's right. You got to give them something that they want. Yes.
Yeah.
So I agree. Totally agree. I mean, look, and just to like really, get into it a little bit more. People always think that I'm like this up on a 10 type of person. If you only knew, guys, at home, I literally am like so cool, calm, and collected. And even Felicia says, "You're so different." I said, because when you're on camera or you're in person hosting or whatever you got to do, you got to turn it on. And if you have that ability to turn it on, then God bless you, right? But there's no one. I mean, if you really can do that all day, every day, 24/7, then maybe you're a robot.
Hello.
Right? But yes, no. But I definitely want to thank you for giving us all that you are, because and it took me it took me some time to get to know you on that level, and now I totally respect it. I'm like, you know what, you got to respect Bryant for who he is, and you got to respect Harmonica for who she is, and that's it. And that's maturity. And a lot of people, especially because maybe I don't want to be ageist or anything like that, but sometimes it takes people, the younger generation, a little while to get to know that.
Right.
It's like if you see a celebrity on the street, you can't always expect them to be the same superhero they were in the movie.
Right, and people sometimes get that kind of like twisted, and they want, like, a lot of times people say, oh, I met so and so and they were really rude. Well, if somebody was at dinner with their family and you came running over to the table, you know, with this, you know, like, this is their time. They didn't, you know, you kind of caught somebody off guard. And so sometimes they may oblige and give you the autograph, and sometimes they may not. Every time is not always going to be the right time for them or for you. You know, it just so happens. And it also, you know, it's just like if I was in the bathroom, using the bathroom next to Oprah, you know, and I'm banging on the stall, Oprah, like, it's like, not right now, honey. You know, it's like, I'm sure she would not be like, yes, girl, what do you want? You know, what's going on? You know, it's like, you know, there's time and place for everything. You know?
Yep.
And people have to understand that, as opposed to taking it that somebody was rude or they were a bitch when you met them. Sometimes people say that about the drag race girls, you know, like, I met them and they were no. She's like, well, it depends on the context of where you met them in, you know. Most people at a meet and greet aren't rude because they know that they have to be on and they have to be that. But if I am in the parking garage trying to get my ticket out and it's stuck there and I'm fighting with the machine, and now you want to tell me all about, you know, just like, not right now. Hey, that's great, but, you know.
Amen. Exactly. Totally agree. Totally agree. So I want to thank you definitely for all the work that you do in the community. And so basically, you know, speaking about your involvement in the community, like, what are some of the initiatives that you hold dear to your heart or that you're involved with?
Well, you know, you know, during the pandemic, I was a drag ambassador to Drag Out the Vote. So, you know, they use drag queens all across the country to get people, to push people to register to vote and to vote. Also, I worked with 2 New Jersey organizations, well, one more so, in getting people to fill out the census.
Awesome.
You know? And so things that, you know, and this whole pandemic has also taught me that there's more for me to do. And it's not necessarily on a stage, but there's more for me to do. And to be involved. You know, we all have to play a part in doing something to give back to the community. You know, and it's like, well, even if it's me going into the closet and taking out all the clothes I don't wear anymore and donating to an organization, I have helped someone else. And so many people don't think of the small things that we can do to help each other, because it's like the circle of life, you know. It's like, you know, the good that you put out will come back to you.
Yes.
You know, and in a way that you might not even think of it that way, you know. And it's just like, help somebody. We have, like, I'm in this decluttering phase now, and I just think that we live in abundance. You know, it's like, we have this, we have so many of these and so many of these, and we have so many things that we don't even use, you know, on a regular basis. You know, and it's just like, let go of some of that. You'd feel great just letting go of some of it. You know. Like my drag and stuff like that. Some things I give away to some girls and stuff, like maybe some newer girls or what have you. Some things I say, okay, well, I can put a little bit of a price on this, you know, and if you're interested in purchasing it. But, you know, but we have to constantly, it just feels good to let go, you know. And do our part to help others in any kind of way that we can, you know.
Yep, that's awesome. And I see a beautiful sign behind you. What does that say?
Oh, this is well, I'm going to tell you, I had a crazy day. Speaking of working from home. So on Tuesdays, I work with the Jersey City Free Public Library, and I do Story Hour online on Tuesdays at 3 p.m.
Awesome.
So I'm all set up, and I go to log on, and I started having some tech issues with the connection. And so I called the IT people, and we were on the phone for about 30 minutes. And when we got off the phone, my time slot had ended. And we resolved the problem, but there was another program slated after mine, so I couldn't even do my Story Hour today because, you know, my time slot had already ended. You know, so, you know, it happens, you know, and it's a good thing that I still had this to do, because then I would have pretty much got dressed up for no reason.
Very true. Very true.
Put the makeup back in the bottle, honey.
Hello. So true. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap, take a little nap like this and wait for 8 o'clock to come and speak to my friend.
There you go. Amen. Well, look at that. You see, God works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
Yes, gave you a purpose. Well, that's beautiful. So wait, for people who don't know what Drag Queen Story Hour is, what is it?
Okay, so I am the North Jersey coordinator for Drag Queen Story Hour, and Drag Queen Story Hour is it's a nonprofit organization, and we just launched our big fundraiser. So I'm the North Jersey coordinator, but I started in New York City. That's why we still have the New York City sign, but the New York City, and I work still in New York City as well too. And so we go into libraries and schools and festivals and bookstores, and we read stories to kids about different things, like kids who are different, people who are different scenarios. Like maybe I read a story about a little boy who likes to wear nail polish and how that's handled, or a kid who has two moms and how that's handled. So different things to hopefully raise more open-minded and more loving, a more loving generation. So many years that we have been told, oh, don't play with that, that's for girls. And it means nothing if a little boy is playing with dolls. It means you can't say that him playing with this doll dictates anything in the future.
Exactly.
The fact that he could grow up and be a famous doll maker. He could grow up to be so many things. Look how many times I said, people try to stifle children's creativities and put them in these boxes and stuff. So what if your son wants to take ballet, or your daughter wants to play basketball? Or let them. Sometimes these are just phases that they go through. It's like, oh yeah, I want to do gymnastics. Oh no, now I want to be a horseback rider. Let them explore as many things as they want to do, and don't put it in the box like, oh, you can't wear that because you're a boy, or you can't do this because you're a girl, because we're not allowing kids to express themselves. And I believe that the parents that bring their kids to Story Hour, they want to raise kids who are open-minded and accepting of other people who are different, or they also may feel that their child is different.
Yep.
And they are providing like a role model for them just to see. Even like some parents have told me, they said, wow, he is never this quiet at Story Hour. I can't believe how you were able to like capture his attention, and he was mesmerized and stuff. Yeah. Because libraries have Story Hour already on a regular basis, and Drag Queen Story Hour is just a little bit different, just an added bonus, so to speak, because I don't want to downplay what librarians do, but it's just an added bonus to have Drag Queen Story Hour. And there's some people who are against the program because they don't understand, and they say that, well, drag queens shouldn't be around kids, or drag queens are not children entertainers, or they should, they think that all our stuff is adult stuff. Well, the thing behind that is, as drag queens, where else could we perform but in the bars and clubs for adults? This is bridging the gap between two communities that would have never, ever met. Some parents used to come see me in the club, and now they bring their kids to come see me.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's just like, same way I can be a foul-mouthed comedian, and I can turn around and do a Christian church convention, as a comedian, So you have to be able to know how to turn it on and turn it off. There are certain things that I would never do around kids, things I would never say, and things that I wouldn't wear around kids. I know my audience,
yes.
And so, and that is the true versatility that some of us possess. There are some drag queens who say, oh, I want to do Drag Queen Story Hour. Well, if you always show up late to gigs, this is not for you, because
exactly.
You have to understand.
It's true.
Think about it. If I have something on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m., and this lady has 3 kids, and right after she brings those 3 kids to Story Hour, she has to take one to ballet, one to soccer. Her day started like at 7 o'clock, and for me to get there at 10:45 and be like, oh my God, I was at the club last night, and no one wants to hear that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what people, and if you can't control that or take care of that through your own gigs, your nightlife gigs, then you can't adapt to this. If every other word that comes out of your mouth is a curse, then if you can't flip that switch, then you're liable to say the wrong thing in front of kids.
Exactly.
And so that's the thing, and most people can do it. And you also have to like kids. If you say you don't like kids, then why are you asking me? I don't want you to be a part of Drag Queen Story Hour just because you want a job, because it's not that kind of a thing, and just because you want fame and publicity, because sometimes some of the videos we do go viral, or there's some scandalous story where some protesters came and this and that and stuff like that. That's the part of the job that it's like that we kind of like frown upon. I just want to read books to kids and let kids have a great day and give them an awesome memory. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I love it, and I think it's the best idea that ever could have happened, because you really are bridging that gap, between like that child and the world that they're gonna grow up in, and they're not gonna grow up in a mommy only mommy daddy type of world. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we know that, or they're not gonna grow up in a world where there's only cars or dolls. You know what I mean? Right. And kids are bullied so much. So if they can see something outside of themselves or their immediate,
and this cuts down on bullying, because suppose I read a story about a kid with two moms. Mm-hmm. And now I read the story to the whole class. And then the next month they get a new student and the kid has two moms. Mm-hmm. And he says, oh, I have two moms. Then no one thinks it's as weird or strange, because we heard a story about a kid with two moms. Yep. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And so it cuts down, because children's books are not what they used to be when we were younger. They cover so many different subjects and things like that. Like, I'm amazed when I read some of these books. In fact, I'm so inspired that I am going to write my own children's book.
Yes, honey. Yes.
I am. That is my goal.
That's beautiful.
My own children's book, because you read so many of them and you're like, wow, I can do this, and you just need to. Mine is going to be about my cat. So.
Oh, I love it. I love cats. Yes. Oh, well, look, put it out into the universe, because that's what it's all about. Putting it out. Yes. Yes. Amen to that. Well, no. And to all those naysayers and to all those trolls, y'all need to go lay down. And it's unfortunate, because I heard about some of the trolls that came, that when you came to Hoboken and you were here and they followed you. I'm like, that is so crazy. People are following you. Yeah.
And it's like anything else. If it's not for you, then don't attend.
There you go.
My thing is, because they interviewed some people who had a different position on it, and they said, well, we are here for the kids. Well, the thing is, all the kids that come to Drag Queen Story Hour are accompanied by an adult, an adult that wants the best for them, that is bringing them there. I'm not in the middle of a dark alley in a white van saying, hey, let me read you a story. You know what I mean? They are being brought there. Drag Queen Story Hour is done in an open environment. The doors are unlocked. If we don't, you know what I mean? There's no rituals or anything else like that. And so you could see for yourself exactly what it is if you really wanted to, But my thing is, if you really are concerned about kids, these kids are in good hands. Their parents are bringing them to cultural events to expand their mind. So exactly. If you want to help kids, there are kids who can't read. There are kids who are hungry. There are kids who are in cages right now. So there's some real battles that you can go out and really put in the work and put the fight in for. But these kids are taken care of.
Exactly.
No 2-year-olds are showing up by themselves saying, yeah, read me a story, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? And they're just walking around by themselves. They are accompanied by somebody who wants them there.
There you go. And I love how and it really is, it's an art form. It's culture. It's like you're exposing this child the way you would to like a painting if they went to a museum, to the Natural Museum of Art or your history or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's the same. You know what I mean? And if anything.
It also promotes literacy as well, too. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times, unfortunately, I don't remember my parents reading books to me when I was really You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? You know?
yep.
And so like, like me reading to the kids, and then they say, oh, can you read me a book? Can you read me the book that Harmonica Sunbeam read, and stuff. So, and then they want to read the book themselves, or they really like the book because they like the character in the book, and now the parent buys them the book, and now they're trying to read the book or reading the book, so it promotes, literacy and the joy and the fun of reading,
I agree. I agree. You are definitely inspiring children, the parents themselves. You're exposing an entire generation to something so new that hey, maybe even I mean I don't know if it existed 5 years ago, but I don't really think it did, right?
Oh,
Even
no.
5 years ago, right? Yeah.
No, years ago. Close to it, about 2015, late 2015, 2016, yeah. And now we started in San Francisco. Someone brought it to New York, right? And now it's international. We have chapters in Japan, in Sweden, in Germany, and Mexico, and all across the US,
Amen.
So
Oh,
so you can't say that this is not needed, or this doesn't have good some good to it. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Because it wouldn't be so popular if it didn't.
Yep.
If it's resonating in a positive light for so many people that it is now international. So
Yeah.
and you're doing something right when you do have the haters.
Hey, that's true. That's true. Haters going, hey, okay. Yes, no, that's so true. So yes, yes, yes. You are doing so many things right, and I definitely think that a lot of people appreciate it. But I really think that hey, you're gonna change a whole generation just by this amazing work that you're doing. And who knows, maybe because I know you're gonna still be doing it when these kids are 21 years old. You're still gonna be an entertainer, and maybe these kids one day, who knows? And we're speaking it out right now into the universe. One day, mark my words, a child that you read to today, they will see you at 21 years old and say, Harmonica Sunbeam, you read to me when I was 6 years old. And you're going to be like, pump.
I would say,
that's funny.
My pump, honey, my asthma pump, that is.
OMG. So real quick, I just wanted to go, I see that some people are joining. So we can't miss another big community event that you are a part of. So Eddie Baez said, legendary Jersey City LGBTQ Pride Festival hostess. So you are, yes.
As a matter of fact, I hosted the first one in 2000 or 2001, the first Jersey City Pride ever.
Wow.
I think it was 2000 to 2001. It was held at Exchange Place, and It was called A Day in the Sun. And I hosted that one. They put me in the Jersey Journal and stuff. And lately I've been hosting. I don't know how many times I've hosted since Eddie took over. Maybe 4 years, something like that. But yeah, 4 or 5 years. But yeah, and that's a great honor. I think it's great to live in a town that I can also work in as well too, where I am accepted and where I am a part of the community, as opposed to being like ostracized. Oh, the drag queen that lives on Main Street, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Harmonica, Harmonica lives in, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it feels good,
Yes, yes. It's like, you're giving back to your very own community that you are a part of. And that's amazing. And I really think
I can live here and just do everything in New York City and just leave it alone. But it's great to be able to have places and establishments that are open and willing to accept me and to allow me to have events and for us to work together as business partners.
I agree. And think about it, for so many years, think about how many times, and everyone watching, and I'm sure you've heard, people, they say, oh, there's nothing in Jersey. Well, there's nothing in Jersey if you don't support it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It has always been that way, where people would say, for a long time, I did a party in Hoboken, on Tuesday nights at the Cage. Mm-hmm. And I would leave Hoboken and I would go to VIP Diner, which is on Sip Avenue in Jersey City, and to eat afterwards, and I would see people coming in from New York. And, you know, so, oh, you're still doing the Tuesdays? Yes, the Tuesdays that you never come to because you keep going to New York. Now, I have nothing with people going to New York, but at the same time, you know, in order for us to have more things here, people have to support them.
You gotta support.
We won't feel like nobody wants to waste their time or take a chance if they don't feel like, you know, it's going to get the support. You know?
Exactly.
And we can have just as many things here as other places have. And who doesn't want to have a situation where they can go out for a couple of drinks and see some familiar faces and then go home and still be able to get up for work. You know, people say, oh, Jersey closes so early, New York stays open late. Yeah, but it's a work night. So are you really staying there to 3:58 in the morning? You know,
exactly.
Or evening, you know, so it's just like, I don't know. But
no.
All I can do is try. And now, you know, I don't work a lot at night anymore because, you know, my work schedule, and even before the pandemic, I just did not want to work late. You know, like for years I had did like, you know, those shows that complete at 2 o'clock in the morning and all that stuff. And now I'm just in a different mindset. So it's like, I'm not doing anything after 11:30 p.m. that starts after 11:30 p.m. unless you have some extra zeros.
There you go.
Honey, hello, you know.
Hello.
So, and ever since I said I did not want to work late, I've gotten so much early work. Do you know how great it is to like, you know, like to do a show at 7:30 and then be home by 9:30 and like out of makeup and in the bed by 10 o'clock? Like, okay, I feel normal, you know, as opposed to me waking up at 10 o'clock, starting my makeup, leaving the house at midnight to go on stage at 2 o'clock, getting home at 4, you know. Missing the whole rest of the next day just to do it all over again. It's just like, and I'm not knocking it because, you know, some people enjoy that, and I just had my time with it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You've had those days.
It's just like you bartending. It's just like you don't want to be out to 3 in the morning bartending. You know what I mean? Counting out and, you know, putting away ice and all that other stuff. It's just, listen, my life has moved in a different direction, dog.
Exactly. Amen. Exactly. And you can at least look back and say, hey, look, I did that. And now in a different path, in a different journey, which works out. And the minute that you make that choice, I love it because I think the minute that, like you said earlier, you know, you're still getting work. You know what I mean? You just have to be adamant, and you have to be, you know, stern about, hey, look, this is what I am choosing to do. And it's gonna work out, and it has.
and the thing is, and I told a lot of people, I said, during this time, you have to think outside the box. What else can I do? What other skills do I have that I can utilize in order to make money? What else do I like to do? Maybe it's time to reinvent yourself completely. You know, I have friends whose jobs shut down, and they were jobs they didn't really care for. So now, here you are, you have this opportunity to say, wow, what other skill sets do I have? What other areas would I like to explore? You know, and make a difference. You know, this slowing down period for all of us gave us all an opportunity to shine a light on our lives and say, wow, what can I change? Or what can I do differently, you know, just to make things a little bit better? Because anybody can complain, but nothing's going to happen complaining all day. You know, you still won't get anything done.
Yes. And so that's a little bit of a good segue to my next question. Where do you think you get your drive and motivation from?
I think I just get, because I guess I get it just from, I guess a little bit I'll say because I'm a Capricorn, you know.
Okay.
We're very driven and stuff, but I also procrastinate too. So sometimes I have to get on myself and say, okay, all right, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you know. And sometimes things are brought into your life that forces you to be motivated or to be driven and stuff like that, you know. So it's just like, suppose somebody sends me an email and say, hey, we want to know if you can do 7 story hours in French, you know, and you have 6 months to learn French. Well, there you go. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I can either say, oh, no, thank you, I'm not interested, or I can say, 1-800 Rosetta Stone, please.
Exactly. Hello.
I always said, honey, if I ever became fluent in Spanish, I was going to take over Jackson Heights, honey. So those girls.
That's right. No, exactly. Hey, and it could happen technically.
Right, you know? But that also opens up more opportunities.
Yes.
You know? it's like, okay,
Yes, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. Well, no, definitely. So and so I think so. We're touching on so much, right? But I think the common theme seems to be like, you know, you got to put in the work. Nothing's gonna happen for you if you do not put in the work.
Yeah, you really have to, and that's the thing. It's just like some people say, oh well, I'm just waiting for the bars to open back up. It's like, well, what if they don't?
Hmm.
Then what? Then you waited for nothing. So you waited 7 months for the bars to open up, then for them to close 2 weeks again
Hmm.
without having
Exactly.
any other plan.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you this, Harmonica, but the reason I even became a bartender was because my job was grant funded and the funding was ending. And I told my little butt, what's the next best thing you can do and make some money quick? And I went and did a bartending course and I got my first bartending gig. And then the rest was history. But then you you end up just rolling with the punches. You end up still having a career or whatever it is, but you gotta be willing to think outside the box and
Right.
just
And
like,
these days, we need you. Everybody needs a hustle of some sort these days. You know, everybody needs a hustle of some sort these days because nothing's guaranteed.
nothing's guaranteed. Yep, I agree. I
You know,
totally
look
agree.
at all the businesses that didn't reopen. I'm sure when you
Hmm.
go through Hoboken, you can see stores on Washington Street.
Yeah.
Just wow, they didn't. You know what I mean? And places that have been there for years.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That are just not. They just couldn't. They couldn't put handle it.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, so it's just like you have to have, as an individual, you have to be able to say, okay, I need this. I need a fallback plan. I need something else that I can do, and to be able to make it.
Exactly. I agree. I agree. All right. This one's a little deep, but I always love to see where it goes. All right.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
she ready. All right. There we go. There we go. So this question is, what have been some of your biggest life lessons and why?
I think like one of my biggest, I lost my parents when I was young. Like I lost my mother when I was 16 and my
Oh, wow.
father when
Sorry.
I was 22, and
Mhm.
so I think, and my mother, she died of breast cancer, and she was kind of preparing us, but not telling us like exactly
Okay.
that was going
Hmm.
on, and so it was just like, I'm not going to be here forever, and you're going to have to learn how to be independent, and you're going to have to learn to think for yourself, and you're going to have, and nobody wants a child who doesn't know how to wash dishes or doesn't know how to clean up or doesn't know how, and so, and all these things. And so we were forced to grow up a little quicker because me and my sister, we went to live with different family members, and they were already set in their ways for how they do things at their house, and now we're coming and it's just like, okay, so that, and then my father passing away 6 years later, and I always think, and my mother knew about me, but we never had the discussion, right?
Gotcha. Hmm.
And same thing pretty much with my father, and sometimes I get not necessarily jealous, but I can say, I don't want to say jealous, but it's a good jealous, a kind jealous, like when people, like performers, have their parents in the audience or parents come to support them. Because I say, I think I know my mom would have come to support me,
Yeah.
and see me do my thing. But it makes me a little sad, like, like when I see these parents, like they're very supportive parents of their gay children, whether they're just going, whether the child is just as a customer or the child is a performer, because I've never really had that opportunity.
Hmm.
Except for, but my family has been to things of mine. So it's the same, but it's not the same because it's not like your parents.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and so just growing up and losing my parents at a very young age just caused me to grow up a lot faster.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm so sorry. Thank you for sharing. I feel like I learned something new about you today, and I'm sure so many other people have. And so I can't even imagine the pain, right, of losing just a parent in general, but even more so at a young age when you're still developing. And then like you said, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like that's something that you'll always have in the back of your mind when you see other people, and their parents are in the front row, like cheering them on, and it's like, wow, I wish, you know, I could have my parents here to see all this that you have created, you know?
And both my parents died at very young ages, and it made me. I always wondered like that I would not make it to a certain age. You know what I mean? And now I've outlived both of my parents.
Awesome. Yes,
So
amen.
it's like one of those situations where it's just like, wow, like, am I destined to not be here for so long as well? And as the years go by, I'm just ever so more grateful and thankful, like to still be here.
Yes, yes. Well, you're building a legacy, you're building an empire. Trust me, I'm always inspired by you, and you know this. And I think I've had a few little powwows with you where I've told you, I feel, like everything that you do, I see you do it with grace, you do it with poise, but you do it because, you've put the focus in. And I commend you for that, because you could easily be distracted, and I've trust me, as someone that comes from nightlife, a lot of distractions,
Right.
And I've always respected that. I'm like, wow, like Harmonica, she shows up early, she does her thing, she delivers, and she's on to the next one.
And we both know that nightlife can eat you up. You know what I mean? You can get caught up in all the fast-pacedness of the nightlife, all the alcohol, of the, the drugs, and just everything else in it, So, we have to, commend ourselves for being able to be in it, but not be involved in everything that it encompasses.
Yeah. Because swallowed by it,
Yeah, some people get in and think just to be cool and or to last longer, they have to do this, they have to do this, they have to do this, and it's not so,
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. So you're obviously using your life to inspire, but how do you feel that you are continuing and you will continue to inspire people in the future, or audiences in the future?
Well, it's like once you realize that, okay, people are watching me, and now, like, even on my social media, there are like a lot of parents who follow me, and possibly some kids and things like that. So I always have to think twice before I post certain things, because I never know who's watching, and the same way how you may apply for a job, and then they look at your social media and be like, I don't know if this person's really right for us. Well, the same way, I'm always applying for a job, because people will go to my social media. They might hear about me. Oh, I know this great hostess, you can follow her here. And then they say, oh, wow. Ooh, oh, wow. You know what I mean? And they may be turned off, by some of the things. So I have to always think twice about what I post and what I say, because if people are looking up to me and looking for me to be this one, like to be this kind of person, then I need to live up to that persona, and it keeps me in check too. So it's just like, okay, now I know I can't do that. Just like certain people in certain professions, though, there are certain things they can't do and they won't do because they know that it doesn't look good for their profession. So I have to keep that in mind. And even, as a drag performer and as a person who works with kids.
Yes. Well, I commend you for that, because, it's not easy building a brand, but then you have to be conscious of what the brand is and who the audience is and who's watching, because it's unfortunate that perception is reality, but it's the truth. It's such a common thing. People will really, as soon as they see a picture, and they have all these judgments, not even taking time. Think about, and we were talking about Instagram earlier. Instagram, the funny thing about Instagram is that it's a great platform, but people really never read the caption. They just see the picture. And sometimes you will have written your heart out, or you will have said, it could be a joke even, and nobody read the joke or read what you posted, but they love the picture.
Right.
Right. So,
you can tell who read it and who actually just liked it,
Exactly. But that's the age we live in, unfortunately and fortunately. Hey, you know what I mean? And you're adapting, and you're doing your thing. So I want you to tell people how they can find you.
Okay, so you can reach me on Instagram under H Sunbeam, H Sunbeam on Instagram. You can reach me on Facebook under Harmonica Sunbeam. And if ever my Instagram or Facebook is down, you can always find me on Cash App and Venmo. Under
That's right, because she's a working girl. And let me tell you, she's still doing her thing from home. Oh,
I hear a lot of the drag queens do that lead, and I'm like, yes, I want to use that too, honey. Well, yes, and I said, Sunbeam spelled backwards is me on Cash App and Venmo. Sunbeam spelled backwards, so you can't forget it.
There you go. No, yes. No, and so any
different ways, you know.
Exactly. Oh yeah. There's no, hey, you can't have no shame in your game. You know what I mean? And everybody's doing it. You might as well, and just to, sum it up a little bit. You are a true talent. Continue on your path. I think, like I was saying earlier, I think there's many more things that we're gonna see from you. This is only the beginning, and I love the fact that you
the
have
best is yet to come.
Yes. Exactly. No, the best is yet to come. And 2020, she was not ready. 2021, she better be ready. Exactly. Well, my love, I love you. And I can't wait to see you soon, hopefully, you know what I mean, when we can. But until then, I will continue to watch you on all the social media platforms, as I'm sure our audiences will continue to watch you. And to everyone that was watching tonight, thank you so much. Definitely share this. Put in the comments any questions. I'm sure after, we can always share this live. People can host a watch party. And Harmonica, like I said, no shame in your game. If you want to drop your Cash App and all your social media pages so people can follow, you go ahead and do it. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yes,
and
my love.
It's been my absolute pleasure seeing you as close as we can get to see each other right now, and for inviting me onto this, wonderful platform.
Yes.
You're doing something special too, because you are allowing people to meet new and fascinating people in the community who they may have only heard of or never heard of at all. So it's all about us helping us.
I agree. We gotta pay it forward. What somebody did for you, open up somebody's eyes to something different and someone new. You know what I mean? Because it's all about that. If we're not in this world together, then what are we in this world for? For the people of the world. She ready. Okay. All right. So to everyone, have a good night. Harmonica, I love you. And I'll see you soon. And many blessings. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you or talk to you. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you too.
Bye.